Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today I'm so excited to show you guys my harvest video because today is a first for me. So today's not my first harvest video, obviously, but it is the first for me harvesting a big tomato. Now, I have struggled with growing big tomatoes and planting them at the right time. My cherry tomatoes, I always can grow, always don't have an issue with it. My big tomatoes, on the other hand, I either plant them too late, or I don't get them in time, or I put them in the wrong spot, or they just don't do well, or they get attacked or something like that. And this year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be right on my planting schedule. I'm gonna get them in the fall and let them grow, and then make sure that each season I'm getting my tomatoes in, because I can technically grow tomatoes pretty much all year long. I mean, during the summer, it's going to be harder for them to ripen because it gets so hot until they kind of just burst. Yeah, it gets that hot in Arizona. But I can start some in the summer, and then that way for the fall, they're pretty much ready to go into the ground, and then hopefully by early winter, I have more tomatoes. But this year, I have a big one right there. So look at this, guys. No muss, no fuss. Now, it grew a little bitty tiny ones that I'm going to take off, but the big ones are starting to ripen up. And as you can see, this one's gonna be the next one. It's blushing. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that one and these little ones. And look at this, guys. It actually is pretty perfect. No blossom end rot, no craziness, no splitting. It's just a perfect little red tomato. I'm so excited about this. Now, guys, I have just dropped it, but it's fine. I have grown a lot of tomatoes this season. Now, one of the things I was so sad about is that I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get enough green beans, and I was so focused on green beans that I didn't even realize that my tomatoes, my cherry tomatoes, were doing amazing. I have a dehydrator full of cherry tomatoes, and I also have a piece of hair right there. I also have a freezer full of tomatoes, and we actually use a lot of tomatoes. We make sauces, we make pasta dishes, we make rice dishes where we use a lot of just whole cherry tomatoes. And normally every year during like tomato season, I will go and I will purchase containers of cherry tomatoes, maybe like 5 or 6, and then I will slice them up and I'll dehydrate some of them for stews and soups, and then I will freeze the other half of them just whole for like different pasta dishes and rice dishes and different things like that. And not even realizing it, guys, this year I don't even have to do that because I have so many cherry tomatoes. I'm going to show you guys the plants right now, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick them all so that you can see. So the 100 Sweets has a ton more little cherries on it. The Bush Goliath has a couple more larger cherries on it. And guys, the black cherry, well, that's what I'm calling it, is just full. So this is insane. I'm gonna go through and grab all of these, and then we can see what we have at the end. All right, guys, I had to stop to show you this. This is just from one plant. This is one seed, one plant, and this is what happens every single week. At least it has been for the last couple of weeks. This is truly, truly a blessing because, you know, I really don't need to go to the grocery store and buy cherry tomatoes at all. I don't think for this year, because that plant still has hundreds of cherry tomatoes on it, and I still have other plants to pull from. And if I can just preserve all of these, then I think for the rest of the year, until we're waiting for the next group of tomatoes to come through, we'll actually be set, and then I don't have to buy a grocery store tomato. This is amazing, guys. Alright guys, here are all the tomatoes again. Look, I have another layer, so I am going to weigh it again at the end, and then we can see how many we have. So guys, that was a lot of tomatoes, and I'm so excited because I pulled a pound of cherry tomatoes last week, so I'm pretty excited to see how much these ones are going to weigh because I have the bigger one in there. But truly, truly a blessing. Now, for my other first, it's going to be a bell pepper. Now, I have struggled growing bell peppers. The first time I tried growing a bell pepper, I got this horrible disease in my garden. And it literally was like every time I tried growing a pepper in that spot, I got black leaf spot is what it was called. And if you guys don't know, that is a horrible disease that goes all the way through the entire pepper plant and then gets into your soil. And you pretty much have to wait almost a year to 2 years in order to be able to grow peppers in that spot again. Now, I've waited 2 years and I do have my Shishito pepper in there. And so far, I haven't had any issues with it. So I think that the disease is gone. And bell peppers, I've never had an easy time growing, so I'm going to pull these ones. They're going to be wonky, but I grew them. So here's my plan for these wonky bell peppers. Now, I let these bell peppers come on way too early for the plant. The plant is only that big, and it was trying to hold up these big bell peppers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all the bell peppers off, even that green one, and I'm going to prune the plant and let the plant just kind of grow and have a moment. And then hopefully I'll be able to grow bigger bell peppers next time. This is hilarious. Now guys, these are totally not the prettiest things in the world. They've been through hail damage, they've been through trying to grow on a small plant, and they've just been through hell. But they're edible. I'm gonna be able to feed my family with them. And I now know that the disease is gone and I can grow bell peppers. So it's kind of an amazing lesson learned. All right guys, so it is time for Shishito pepper season again. That was a longer wait than I thought. It actually took about, I want to say, a month to get those plants healthy again after I pruned them way back. But I have some nice size Shishito peppers on there, and I'm going to pick them all and then I'm going to show you. So I only have a handful, but I have a handful of decent size Shishito peppers. Like, that's a nice size pepper. So it took a plant that was like really growing wonky and really growing peppers that were like half the size and misshapen, and that was their full grown, to now they're healthy and they're growing some pretty nice Shishito peppers. So it's just a matter of time before I have buckets of these as well. Now, I want to take a minute, guys, and show you guys how to install a mighty crop, because my cucumber plant just sent off its first tendril and I just noticed it as I was picking these Shishitos. So it's going to need some support. So as you guys know, we are super blessed to be affiliated with a company called Mighty Crop, and they created these little things to hold all of your vining plants. Now, it's nice because you don't have to like worry about a tomato cage, which it's going to outgrow, or like being able to take up a lot of space. This tomato cage here takes up a lot of room, so it's impossible to really grow a lot of things around it, versus my mighty crop back there on my giant tomato plant, where I can grow a lot of things underneath it because I can kind of keep everything condensed. So for the plan for my bush cucumber plant is to grow it up a mighty crop. I don't have a trellis for it. I don't want to put it in a tomato cage because I don't really have the room for it, and I want to be able to grow a nice healthy bush cucumber plant without it getting sick or anything like that. The best way to do that is to make sure that the leaves are up and out of the way of the water and the dirt, and that is going to be held up by a mighty crop. So I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to put it together. It's super simple, and if you guys want one of these on your own for your own garden, then you can get 10% off with our promo code. I will link it down below, and you'll just use promo code Team Benson on the Mighty Crop website. All right, let's go install it. All right guys, so it's the easiest thing ever. All I did was I took a stake, just a long green stake that I got from Home Depot for like $2 or $3, and I just stuck it right into the middle of the plant here. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mighty crop and I'm going to choose which hole it fits best in and then I'm just going to put it down on the stake until it's right above this plant. Now this one is starting to send out its first tendril, so it's reaching for something to grab onto, so I am going to put it just above it so that it'll start grabbing onto it. Now, after remembering that this plant is going to have to survive monsoon season, I decided to take 2 stakes and put into them. The nice part is that you can have 1 or 2, and you can kind of put whatever best fits your garden. We get super windy days here in the monsoons, so I like to have 2 stakes just to hold it up. So all I did is I just put the 2 stakes into the ground or into the pot, and then adjusted my mighty crop and slid it down to where it's right over it. So I want to have this tendril now reaching up for this section right here to be able to grab on. And then as the plant grows, I will just adjust the leaves and put the vines in these little sections here. Now my mighty crop has survived monsoon season. It's grown cucumbers, it's grown tomatoes, it's grown giant tomatoes, and it has really been a bit of beneficial thing in my garden. So I'm excited to be able to share a promo code with you guys to where you guys can get a discount to be able to provide more space and more growing things for your gardens. Because sometimes you can't always put in arches or trellises, but if you can grow things straight up, you can grow a lot more food for yourself and for your family. So check it out below, and let's get back to harvesting some food. Alright guys, so next week it is going to be hotter, and then it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. So I think it's going to be a perfect time for me to pull all of the celery. Now my celery is not really tall or big because I grew it really close together, and I grew all my celery in pots, but I grew enough of it to where I'm going to use all of the celery leaves for stalks, and then I'm going to use all of the celery stock, like the stems of them for different stews and different soups. So I'm pretty excited about this. So this is just one big bush of my celery, and it smells so good, guys. Like fresh celery smells amazing. And as you can see in here, it has some pretty decent sized stalks in it. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull all of this, and then I'm actually gonna be pulling this tomato plant too as well, because it does not produce as much as that tomato, and I don't need that many more tomatoes. So instead, I am going to grow cucumbers in here and only rely on the other black cherry tomato. So let's go ahead and get all these. Alright guys, so this is all the celery just from the pot. Now I have another place where I have some celery. So now I'm going to grab all the celery out of these pots. So guys, look at this. This is a ton of celery, and it smells so amazing. Now, the nice part about this, and the nice part about growing it in pots and just kind of letting it go, is that it grew a ton of them, but also look how healthy these are, guys. There's not a single bug or anything on these. Nothing's eating them, nothing's destroying them. I can use the entire plant now. So I'm going to take all of the leaves off, and I'm going to put them in a big freezer bag, so then when I make all of my stocks, which I'm going to be making lamb stock, chicken stock, veggie stock, and beef stock, I'm going to be able to use all the leaves to be able to make the stock, and then the stems I'm going to save to be able to make all of my soups and stews when it's time for soups and stew season, meaning it's not going to be 100 degrees outside. So they're going to have a little bit of time in the freezer, but all of my stocks are going to get made, and I'm going to be able to pressure can them, and then that is just now not having to buy another thing at the grocery store. Now I won't have to buy stock, and I'll have the most delicious stock because it'll be packed full of flavor, and I don't have to buy celery. So just a few seeds of celery produced all of this. Isn't that cool, guys? Alright guys, so I have 2 more medicinal plants that I'm going to harvest, and then I am going to be done, because this is going to be a lot of preserving that I'm going to need to do. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get all of the buds off of my toothache plant because it is insane and crazy yet again. All those little buds are medicine. Alright guys, so the last thing I'm going to get is some lemon balm. It is time for me to start drying this and getting it in the medicinal cabinet. And as you can see, the sun is already getting this one and it's looking like it's wanting to flower. So I'm going to go ahead, harvest the lemon balm all the way down to the last set of leaves, and then I'm going to leave it to try and grow out so I can get another batch, because lemon balm is something we love for teas for anxiety. Alright guys, so this is all the lemon balm. Now, if you guys ever suffer with anxiety or insomnia or just have trouble relaxing, lemon balm could potentially be your best friend. I am going to link down below the video that I did for Medicinal Friday. It was one of my first Medicinal Fridays on lemon balm and how and why you should always grow it. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I know it probably is going to be a long one. There was a lot out here, and I just really appreciate all of the support that you guys have shown the channel, and thank you for helping me to get it to grow as far as it has. We're going to be having another giveaway that I'm going to announce as soon as we hit 3,000 subscribers. We're so close. I think we're about 75 subscribers away, and then I will announce it. It does have a sponsor, so I'm pretty excited. So that means prizes are going to get bigger. But until next time, guys, grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Now let's go weigh those tomatoes. Alright guys, so this time we have 1 pound, 6.2 ounces. All of those in there. That is amazing. I'm so excited.